Okay,
That's
There he
the
is.
one. Yay!
You did it.
okay, let's open this meeting of the Hamilton Conservation Commission for May 12th. Since we
It's
don't-
7:14. Just so the person taking the minutes knows, 7:14.
Right, and we don't have
Can you go back and answer?
Bert to give us what's going on here. So,
It's not on, it continued.
Yes, we only had one thing on the agenda.
right,
It was.
well, let's get rid of the minutes first, though, huh?
Hey, I have to log off because we're
Oh.
late tonight. I apologize. I just have a hearing and I didn't want to not come in and just try and get it a continuance. I apologize, Mr. Longo.
Oh.
Would it be possible to continue that?
We are continuing, and Jill, Jill, I'm sorry, tell me.
Jill
tell me what
Mann,
your concern is.
legal counsel for Tobacco Capital Partners. We're just seeking to continue the ANRAD hearing
Oh,
until the next
okay.
meeting because we just had to resubmit a plan to
I'm
Mr.
fine.
DeRosa.
I'm fine with that. We can push it off till the next meeting. Yes.
And when is that meeting? Does anyone know?
Yes,
Uh,
May 28th.
May
28th.
28th? Okay,
Right,
so if you wouldn't mind doing a vote to continue to that, that'd be wonderful.
that's exactly what I was just gonna call for.
Thank you.
Have a vote to continue this abbreviated notice of resource area delineation till the next meeting.
I.
Who would like to make that?
I vote for-
Virginia made the motion.
Okay,
Virginia
I
made
make
the motion. I need the second.
I
Second.
George seconded. Okay, motion made and seconded to push this to the next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Virginia Cookson, aye.
Virginia Cookson is aye. George Tar is aye.
Aye.
Lauren is
Aye.
aye, and myself, Richard, is aye also.
Wonderful.
Okay,
I appreciate
you're
your
all
time
set.
this evening, and I apologize for the late notice and all the
Well,
kind
I
of changes.
apologize. I apologize for being late myself. I couldn't get on the crazy
Isn't Zoom
Zoom.
wonderful?
But anyway, I hate Zoom. Oh, do
I do
hate
too.
Zoom.
Take care. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Have a good evening.
You as
Bye-bye.
well.
Okay.
The only other thing, I guess we have a certificate of compliance? Yes?
That takes care of that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're all set there. Guess for determination of compliance of 153 Essex Street.
I was looking through the
What's 153 Essex Street? I don't know. I don't know what it is.
No, it was 1990. It's was the last plot developable on the old Campfire Girls land that was offered to the town. Town turned it down. It was picked up by a developer, and they built all those beautiful homes on the street between Essex and Grapevine. And this one is on Essex Street. If you come, it's on Essex Street, going towards the seminary, and that on that side of it, and on I'm going in that direction. How can I say it?
On Essex Street going towards this, going towards the.
Going to downtown. Okay, going away from my house.
All right, going downtown away.
But
from
it's on
your-
the left. It's
By
on the
by
left.
the seminary.
Well, it's before you get there, but yes, it's the last house you can see.
Oh. I
It's got
know
big
that.
bushes in front of it. It's a white house.
Yeah, it's next to the old iron rail property.
It's actually part of it.
Okay.
It was the last lot that they developed.
Is that the White House, the white stucco house?
Yeah. Before they started building that, if you were walking, if you walked along the side of Essex Street in front of the lot where that really nice stone wall is, and it still
Nice
is.
stone wall, yeah.
Yeah, and if you looked over the other side of the stone wall before the land was developed, you'd be looking down 14 feet to the ground.
Jeez.
So they had to fill enough land up high enough to put the house and the septic system in.
That was opposite that old store that used to be there in gas station.
Well, actually not
In
that.
the street. Yeah, no, not exactly. It's down, down.
It's
down to the-
opposite and down, a couple houses, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody
Yeah,
else
They,
knows that.
they had to do a
except us.
replication. They did a replication of 1,080 square feet of the wetland, because there's basically, wasn't even like a finger-like projection, it was more like a,
Right, but my only question is, has anybody gone out there to look at it?
yes, I asked, Bert, and he said he did go out, as far as he could tell, the replication area seemed to have wetland plants, so he wasn't questioning that.
Okay,
Got around to looking at the plans on this computer. But when you try to make it bigger and little, it likes to revert back to real little. So it was hard for me to measure anything, but there's an as-built, okay, and I looked at the as-built in the original. I think there's
Okay.
a mistake on the original for where the buffer zone 100-foot line is, or the buffer zone has retracted quite a bit since 1990. Either way, I thought if somebody
that-
look
does
at it,
does that have anything to do with the certificate of compliance?
absolutely, because if the wetland line has retreated back 20, 30, 40 feet, that would not be what we would be compliant with what they intended to do and how it was supposed to work. I mean, that shouldn't have caused the wetland to retract. That's why I'm thinking perhaps the first one wasn't on the map. Like, okay, plan. So I just like somebody to check that the two plans indeed agree basically with the wetland line. And they'd have to go down to the town hall and just look at them, in the flesh, as they say. And other than that, that's the only comment I had. Was it concerned me, that looked to me like
What
on the
what would
original.
be the- What would be the solution if they don't match?
Well, then we'd have to bring it up to the next meeting and discuss that. Hopefully there's more than 4 of us. I'd have to
What
look.
are you gonna do? You're gonna tear the house down? I don't understand.
No, I don't know. You asked me a question, and since I just was looking at it, I hadn't got to my thinking that far. Besides, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't, hopefully there's no need or no reason why we can't just postpone this to the May 28th meeting, and hopefully somebody other than myself, or besides myself, I should say, could go down town hall to the commission room and just take out a ruler and check the two, one against the other. Then we'll know, maybe one was an error, in which case it comes up to the next meeting and we just pass it, no big deal. If it doesn't agree and there's a really big difference, then we need to bring it up at the next meeting, discuss what, if anything, we should be doing or saying about it. Okay.
Virginia, I'm happy to look at things, but I'm wondering if you could, maybe we could just arrange a time where we could both go there and you could just show me actually which documents I'm supposed to be looking at.
Fine with me, I could do that, yeah. I'm available most times.
Okay. And I just have a general question, like, is a 30-year gap normal for these types of things? Like, it's just mind-blowing to me that this was submitted in 1990 and they're just submitting like a request now. Is that correct?
It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens continuously. Might not get it very often, but you always are going to get another one.
Yeah.
I think the reasoning here is that the contractor, the person who's going to sell the house, okay,
Yeah.
is the one that had the house built. Okay, then someone buys the house.
Yeah.
Everything's been registered, at the registry of deeds and stuff, and the owner just is not aware of it,
Yeah.
understand it, or just forgets it. And then when they go to sell or to refinance, it's found as being in, and they have to come up with an answer. Usually,
Yeah.
they're going to sell it.
Yeah, that's usually the trigger is selling of the property, because it's not incumbent. Well, it is, but it isn't follow that if you build a house, as soon as the house is built and people move in,
Yeah.
they should get a certificate of compliance at that point.
Right.
But that doesn't happen.
Okay,
because it doesn't mean anything to them living there.
right,
It only
there-
means something when you want to do something with the property.
yeah.
So
Got
that's why the delay. You find that
Um,
very.
excuse me, Conservation Commission, my name is Devin Morse.
Yeah.
I'm a wetland scientist for Hancock Associates, and I'm in representation for my client, Paul Drinkwater. If I could just have the floor, just for a brief moment to
Go right
discuss.
ahead.
So this, yes, obviously this request for a certificate of compliance is very old. It's actually older than me. But so this was originally a notice of intent submitted for the single family house with the garage, septic system, and wetland replication. Myself and Bert both went out to the site last week or the week before. I can't remember off the top of my head. And, obviously the replication was done before the guidelines of ordering vegetated wetland replication standards that are now in place. But the vegetative cover is definitely all wetland dominant. Hydric soils are present, inundation is present. The replication itself looked very good. The house is within the same footprint as the original plans, but with the discrepancy with the buffer zone, I actually looked at the plans and saw the as-built compared to the original plans that accompany the order of conditions. And I did see that the buffer zone differed, but I think that was the approximation of the wetlands and now where they've grown and where it's grown out. Obviously, it's been 30 years. So that has been adjusted.
Being adjusted. Oh, you mean it's adjusted on the new plan, the as-built?
Yes, yeah,
Well, you did notice that the buffer zone line on the old one actually went out over that stone wall part of it.
right, yeah, and it looked like
And
the
then-
septic
yeah.
system
Yeah, and
was
then
also in the buffer zone and everything like that, but yeah, that's
I was looking at the
not,
house, hoping the house was in the footprint.
right,
I think it's basically in the footprint. I'm not sure it's exactly.
yeah,
I started measuring everything from the stone wall, which is still there, to the wetland line on each. Okay, that's how, but I noticed on the as-built that the 100-foot buffer zone line actually goes through the front corner of the house. That's how far back it's pulled. Yeah. So that would mean to me that the wetland has shifted back or shrunk. Yes, it's 31 years and things change. They get bigger, they get smaller. But since we're talking about a house that they did have to fill in a lot of land and they have a nice lawn and stuff, you have to consider the use of the land as having caused change. But again, Richard, I still don't know what to do.
well, and also you have to take into
Oh.
consideration hydric soils are an indication of wetlands, so if the soils in that area, even though vegetative might have creeped back a little bit, they're still hydric, then it still is considered a wetland.
True, but that house was built was built prior to Environmental Protection Act.
Right,
No,
Prior
no.
to,
no, this
No.
house was not, excuse me,
Before our bylaw regs. yes,
right.
Yes.
before the bylaws and regs. All right.
Yeah. Well, the bylaw was called chapter 16 at the time, but it didn't do much for us. That's why the commission worked on it in late years. But,
All right. So
that would mean, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
you still want to push it off to the next meeting?
I would like to close tonight if possible. I mean, my
I'm
client,
talking to Virginia.
sorry, excuse me, yes.
That's okay.
Okay. I had, in answer to that, I have another question for Devin, if you don't mind, okay?
Yes,
You mentioned that, you have a little lawn there and then we have the trees in the wetland, okay? You said it could still have the wetland soils,
Mhm.
which means soils would be underneath the lawn. That, I guess I would say that's not acceptable, but more importantly, did you when you went out and, check the wetland line, did you check the soils? Yeah,
I did.
only on the edge of the wetland, right?
Right, and within the wetland itself as well.
Right, but you didn't check the back lawn 5 feet, 10 feet away from the wetland.
Do you mean to where they filled,
grass.
where it was originally filled?
Yes, between where,
Okay, so that's probably about 35 feet away from where the wetlands are now. So if,
okay, maybe I'm wrong, what's felled?
yeah,
When did that
that's,
felled?
so the original order of conditions were for bordering vegetated wetlands being filled and then replicated and replaced in kind.
Filled, I'm sorry, okay, I misunderstood. All right, yeah, I know, I'm not talking about where they filled it, but that's okay, I'm talking about where it would be most likely on the same line as the filled area, but it's where the regular lawn is, and it would have grown there before, after, but if it was through in the still soils, then we need to check some of the grass. So all I mean, if it's wetland soils, and then what I'm saying is the grass could be extended each year. Not on purpose, just, because people mow the lawn, and push things back and they get pushed. In 31 years, you could easily push it back a few feet. You could grow grass, with the mow, not really great grass, but you could grow grass and it would be on the wetland. That's why I'm saying that in this instance would be a good idea to check some of the soil.
I do have some photographs if that might help.
I
Oh,
don't
oh.
have right now, no.
Oh, okay.
But when the piece of property hadn't been built on, there would have been no grass there because it was in the woods. But they had to cut down, they had to fill an awful lot of land, and they also took some trees down so they could have a backyard.
Right, but and then that was all permitted and in order
Oh,
of
yes,
conditions,
yeah.
right? So,
Yes, but I don't know if the land's been extended onto the wetland or not. I hope not. You see what I'm trying to get at is just check the wetland and the obvious wetland line. You're going to come up with your answers, which are good, but it's not going to really give you where the wetland line is anymore. If you check with soils, it might be underneath the lawn.
and in this order of conditions, this is the planting plan for the original notice of intent that was submitted and permitted. The vegetation that was planted, we're basing that succession off of what's now existing. So I think, and myself and Bert Commons both, like I said, went out to the site and, we looked at the vegetation, we looked at everything. So I'm not too sure what would hold up in regards to the certificate of compliance.
Well, you're right. I'm gonna say you're right. It's just in the last minute been able to include soils, but you're absolutely right. Soils were not included in our evaluation of
Right.
Okay, in the Wetlands Protection Act in Massachusetts, they didn't state anything about wetland soils in the act, and that's when it was. So we can't use soils. Therefore,
Right.
we just use what you found, and grass is not a wetland plant. So you could say that more than 50% of the vegetation growing up to the edge of the wetland is non-wetland vegetation. So, okay. You're right. Therefore, I don't think we do. And to answer your question now, Richard, I agree. We can't do anything. That's the way it was, and that's the way we'll have to accept it. Unfortunately, I do believe there's been a loss. Now, I can't prove it's a loss. It wasn't just a natural 31-year loss. But I can't prove it wasn't either. But we can't do anything with that. So using what we had then, and we're using that same stuff now. I withdraw my wish to continue into the next meeting on the 28th in order to review where the wetland line is, the buffer zone line is, excuse me, on both the as built in the previous for his bill plans.
Okay, so where does that leave us?
And then leaves us with asking other people if they have questions and then taking.
And I have, it, right, does anyone else have any further questions about this certificate of compliance? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for the work done on 153 Essex Street under an NOI for a house, septic system, and landscape.
Motion made, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Virginia,
Will George talk? George?
Aye.
Virginia?
aye.
Lauren?
Aye.
And myself, aye. All in favor? Passed. You got it, Devin.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And
Sure.
thank you so much for all of your questions. It really is important to ask them and I appreciate your time.
Well, he's gonna.
Devin, excuse me.
listening
I
to
don't know when you will get that done by the time they do it at town hall. I don't know.
Right.
what's
Yeah,
going
we don't, yeah.
on. I don't know who's doing it, to be
Okay,
honest.
I mean, that's just a matter of me poking other people now. So don't worry about it.
You can get the paperwork out of them.
Do
Okay.
it gently, do it gently, please. They-
I will. And I know the vacancy is super hard. Rockport just went through the same thing and I know Bert went over there. So it's hard. I get it. It's obviously, but thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a
We may
wonderful
we
evening.
may have someone soon and we'll be ready to.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait.
We hope.
And Bert
Okay.
is at his first meeting tonight.
Yeah.
I know. I talked to him
Yeah.
about it. He's
Yeah.
very excited. I mean, it's close
Yep.
to home. I get it. So,
Yep.
all right.
Good.
Well, thank you guys so much and you have a wonderful evening. Like I said.
You also, Devin. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, the Patton Homestead Open Space.
Oh, yes, yes.
I got I'll start it. I got an email from Joe this afternoon wanting a copy of it. Okay, I had
I got
assumed,
that email as well. I replied to it.
I replied to it. I found it. I found what I had and I sent it what I had. And I think that Bert had also talked to him and given him a copy as far as I knew.
Yes, he did.
That's what I thought. So, but anyway, all right. So we've all sent, well, you and I have sent them copies too. They may not match, but
Could I ask you to give us an update? What is on the
Well,
five?
Lauren is the one that did the best job in actually making an MOA. So I made some comments and she has my comments and she intends to put it all together. And when it's together, we're going to let Rosie take a look at it, see what she thinks, and we will send a copy to Joe.
Yeah, so I
It will come
apologize.
up from whether this is going to happen. I don't know. How
Don't we
soon
have
does
to
it
take a-
happen, Lauren?
Don't we
I
have to
will
go for
get
it?
it tomorrow, yeah. So George had sent me last week your comments and I was busy last week, so I wasn't able to get to it, but I have time tomorrow blocked out to integrate your comments, so then I can send it. I mean, I don't know what the preference is for me to send it back to you, George, or send it directly to Rosie, or how we want to do it
to Joe.
to Joe.
Well,
Yeah.
I would like to see it.
George, yes, yes. Oh, yes.
I know that.
I think send it to me first. I'll get it back to you right away.
Okay.
And we can let Rosie and Joe have copies of it.
Yeah.
And then it can.
Yeah,
come
that'd be great. Thank
discussed
you.
Monday night at the BOS meeting.
Mhm.
It's on the agenda for their Monday night meeting.
Right. Yeah, Joe told me.
To be able to make it in time for that.
Yeah.
Am I wrong that the memorandum understanding for this, it has to go through, so the guys at the top, like, Rosie and Joe obviously have to say okey dokey. But it comes from the commission. Shouldn't the commission have a chance to vote on it too? Before or after something? I mean,
Yes, you certainly will. You should, you should have a vote on and it presented as something that the commission has voted on and agreed to. Absolutely.
I just don't know how the timing would go for that.
But
George?
that's not going to be in time. I mean, obviously,
Document-
we can't review it and vote on it before the BOS meeting.
You want to put it off
So
for
it has to
another
be-
meeting?
Not necessarily. As long as you can discuss it.
We have,
Won't be
Yeah.
able to take a vote
That
on
has
it,
been-
that's all.
that has been presented to us at a meeting
Mhm.
prior to, that's where I got it from. I got it from one of the agendas,
Yeah,
the,
Yes.
with MOA on it. So
And I-
we
yeah.
have had it and seen it.
and then I assume you and George and Joe have all looked at it and made changes and suggestions, rearrangements, and, to get it down to a form that's legally acceptable, however, and understandable, of course.
And Joe wants to see it so that he can address it to the board
Yeah.
himself, whether there's anything that he wants to change, he's
Yeah.
gonna have to come back to us and we will postpone it.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to go.
obviously, it's not going to be a final form.
This is our problem, not.
BOS can have input. Joe wants to show the MOA to town council too.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another one that's in the loop.
And it has to go to the homeowners association also. They have to
Oh,
agree.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, actually,
BOS has authority.
homeowners, I don't think the
I'm not
homeowners
sure that
are
the
The
involved.
homeowners, right? No, I don't think
About,
so.
Not
Patent
involved.
Homestead Inc.
Well, one at a
Right.
time. I lost that. George, I missed what you were saying. I'm
Are you
sorry.
talking about sending it to Patent Homestead Inc.?
Oh, I'm not saying send it to them now. No,
No,
no.
They're not in they are not in the loop. I mean,
Correct.
BOS has the authority here.
The town, right?
Right, the town has the authority. That's correct. Yep. Okay, so I guess we have a plan then.
I think so.
Yes, George and Lauren,
Yep, yeah, I think
Okay.
we just,
and then get it to Joe prior to the meeting.
yeah, I think we should be able
Right.
to get him tomorrow or Friday, so.
Okay, I guess that's. Any other comments about it?
Well, if I wanted to attend the Board of Selectmen meeting, we'd have to make sure that we have 6 people in the minute, so we can't have more than 3 people. It'd be you and George, most likely will want to attend the Zoom meeting for this presentation to the viewers. Okay, never mind, I'll just watch it. That's,
Okay.
we'll have
Just,
to,
sure, that's not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, any other business?
I'm afraid so.
Oh, good, George. See, there you go.
I have a
What?
word that none of us ever want to hear again, but I'm obliged to say it, and that's beaches. Remember beaches?
I remember B. Yep,
Remember we had posts put out? We decided to enforce the line that was originally drawn for the Conservancy or 9.1.
yep.
The posts have had no effect whatsoever on the mowing. Everything that was mowed last year without the posts has been mowed this year with the posts.
but they don't take directions from us.
Well,
So the question is, do we want to really enforce that line? I assume we do.
yep, we
I
do.
want to put it to the commission with a vote and so forth before I send any communication to Barb.
Yeah, no, I think we want to enforce the post without a doubt.
My other suggestion, which will require BOS approval, is to put some stones along between the posts so they can't go through with the mowing machine. And the stones I propose to come from the stone wall that's down the slope toward the pond. There's a stone wall in there that you can't see unless you actually go into the woods because it's in the woods. I think it's probably about on the boundary between our 9.1 and the rest of the homestead. But it doesn't mark a property line, obviously, at least not from my point of view. But there may be a disagreement with that because it's a separate parcel. What we have is a separate parcel. I don't know. I would like approval to use those stones, what I'm asking.
I don't know where they are, really.
There's a steep slope from the hill that Patton Ridge is on, right?
Yep.
You go north from the beaches, and it's fairly flat, and then it just drops off sharply to the
Yeah.
pond.
Yeah,
Halfway down that slope, or 2/3 the way down that slope, is a stone wall that runs through the woods there. It's not a stone wall that anyone would, that I can see would want to preserve for any reason. And it has stones of a reasonable size that, with a little bit of clearing in the woods, nothing serious. I could get a hand truck down there and get the stones up and put them between the posts.
you really want to move them yourself?
You haven't visited my yard, so you don't know.
No, I haven't.
I have 25 years of experience moving large stones around and building stuff with them.
I'm not,
Uh,
I'm not,
It
I'm
would
not,
give me the greatest pleasure to get my hand truck out and move some more stones.
I'm not saying you don't know what you're doing. I'm just figuring, it's a lot of work and, What-
Yeah, well, so
like you used to be.
I'm retired
Wait,
and I'm
it's a
still
hurt.
functional, so
How
I
far
have-
is it?
for some reason, I've developed an interest in the patent.
Yes.
George, how far is it between the posts?
It's quite a distance. It's easy
That's
to get the machines in there. It would
I'm
take
thinking it is,
probably
but it
2 or 3 boulders at least between the posts. and
Yeah.
help seal it. The
that's-
only other way to do it is to put it like a rope or something between the posts. I'd
yeah.
rather put the stones in there. but I don't-
So this,
It's kind of, it depends on approval too. I mean, it's, I think the BOS has to approve doing this.
this would be a line from Asbury Street, perpendicular from Asbury Street, across the field until it comes up to the, up the slope. That's, that unit 1 is on.
There's the stone wall I'm referring to is not.
Oh,
built
no.
from
Yes, I
Asbury
don't mean
Street.
the one you're referring to, where you want to put it.
Where I want to put it is between the posts up there around the beaches.
Around the beaches.
Just around the beaches. Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember the
You're talking
post,
about-
we put the
boat.
post to, there's a field on the north
Yeah,
side.
okay.
Uh,
I'm sorry,
then
Rich, George. I was thinking you were talking about the big piece of property, field where the parking lot is.
No,
They
uh-uh,
they mow the whole thing all the time.
no.
We don't want that mowed all the time either.
George,
Okay,
We decided to let the area that's lawn and being mowed by Patton Ridge now revert to meadow, right? That was the decision.
I remember that, yeah.
yep. George, are the posts referred to in the HMO?
I know.
Uh,
Laura, this is a different.
Oh, different thing. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
the original.
The demarcation of our land and theirs, is that mentioned in the agreement?
The
The only reason I ask
talking
is,
about our, not the original line, but our decision to go back to the original line.
a decision to put in markers.
Yeah, we discussed that. We had a plan of the beaches area with the post.
Okay, and that's
marked on them.
included, that's
And
included in
DPW
the,
went in and put the post there.
okay,
The
that's
post put in by
included,
DPW.
that's included in the agreement.
It's not in the agreement. We have no, we abandoned the MOU with Patton Ridge, right? Because they had abandoned it. They were mowing stuff that we said they were not supposed to mow.
I was just, the reason I was,
We had the meeting and discussed whether we wanted to try to continue that MOU or just chuck it and go back to the original lines. And the decision of the commission was to go back to the original line.
Yes. It was.
the only reason I was asking was because if the posts were included in the in the memorandum of agreement, that you could also include the boulders too.
Well, the memorandum of understanding was basically checked out by the,
There were
Association.
a few posts proposed in the MOU, but they're not where the posts are now. We had decided on a different configuration where we would basically be in charge of what was under the drip line, you know, under the beaches.
Right.
And then we would let Patton Ridge mow outside of that. And we had that all arranged and, but they didn't follow it. They just went ahead and mowed everything and mowed things we hadn't even talked about. It was part of the 9.1.
I don't think anybody's followed any of our suggestions going way back to when we started this whole project.
right. I agree with you. Rick.
And I don't think anybody will in the future either. So
How about you don't think
unless there is someone out there daily, every day, looking at what's being mowed and what isn't being mowed. how
That's why I think the boulders or something is needed
Right.
between the posts, because they're just going to ignore the posts and mow whatever they
Let's-
want to mow.
Then let's
That's what they've done.
include that in the memorandum of agreement.
I don't think we need a
But
memorandum.
that's not,
No, you don't. Right.
It's been ignored. We voted to go back to the original line and
Right.
he's simply trying to show us how we could actually have them pay attention to the original line by putting the boulders.
Right.
So we don't.
not
we
sure
don't
how
have a-
this fits
we
in
don't have an
with
agreement with
the
them anymore.
MOA, which will be between the commission and the board of selectmen, the BOS.
Well,
The
George,
MOA that
you're,
we're drafting is going to be between
If
Right.
they don't like the
the
post,
commission and the board of selectmen, right?
That's too bad.
if they don't like the post, they're not gonna like the boulders, number one. Number two, they aren't gonna like the boulders. Number three, the only next place they're gonna go is to the selectmen to start complaining about it.
but are these boulders intended to be on the original 9.1 acres of open space?
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
so then
On the
they
line.
don't have to agree to it because they've not adhered to
right.
an informal agreement. So
The only-
they would have no argument.
The, Patton Ridge is out of the loop. here.
Right. Exactly.
Uh,
Well, they
The
don't have
agreement
to
that I
be
made
in,
from BOS is the use of those boulders that are now in
right.
the stone wall.
Well, we can talk about that. We can bring that up as part of the discussion on Monday night. And maybe what you can do, George, is take some photographs of what you are referring to so that everybody will understand. Would you be able to do that?
I could.
So that in order to have a discussion, we should be able to see what the issue is.
Okay,
The one plan that we had originally around the elms, with the yellow marker on it. I want to know, George, that is the original line as far as we know, unless we got a surveyor out there. Am I right?
Did you feed Coda?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Thank you.
well,
I mean, that might be the plan to share the book. That's all. Oh, it's just.
getting Peter Kane to go out and say, yes, this is where the line is, seems a little bit overkill and irrelevant at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty clear where the lines are. Jim and I did it, and Bert and I did it, measuring from here and there, and pretty well settled exactly where the lines were supposed to be.
And, is Rosie, are you talking?
Nope, I'm listening.
Oh, sorry, I heard your voice. Then I'd like to make a motion that we, vote again to, yeah, not vote again, to vote to, allow George to do all the heavy lifting. Use
So to
boulders,
speak.
and using the boulders, down slope, on the north side of the 9.1. On the slope above the pond, I believe. Use stones, to mark the line for the 9.1 around the elm tree, not elm tree, beech trees.
Yes,
Okay, we have a motion, Nate. Do I hear a second?
second.
Motion made.
So,
and
so,
seconded.
so I'm sorry. So for some discussion, George, certainly you have the control of the 9.1 acres. But as a courtesy, I think before you give the, you can certainly vote for it, but before it's executed, let's bring it before the board with some photographs, if that's all right with you.
Yes, right. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Well, we still need the approval of BOS. right?
Yeah, well, it's just, I wonder, you're talking to the commission and
Right, you have control of that
no,
property.
I don't mean that. I mean, it's just if the people live there have a problem with the line, they go to the Board of Select. At least we can say, well, you brought it up at a commission meeting and all those present voted
Yeah.
for that, okay?
Yep.
So that we, we're just crossing our Ts and dotting the Is right now, okay?
Yep, yep.
We're gonna go out and do it tomorrow.
Would you approve of my sending an email to Barb to let her know?
Do we need,
We don't have to, but
Let her,
just
let her know what.
as a courtesy or
Uh,
courtesy, whichever.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be a courtesy, but I could see it slowing things down a lot, but then again, I don't know. It is a courtesy. That, no, we don't have to do it, but that's why it's called a courtesy.
Send,
Right.
send her an email about what? About the boulder situation or just,
Noting that putting the posts out has made no difference in the mowing.
Right,
So
Yes.
we felt we had to take additional action to enforce those lines.
sure,
right. Yep.
yes.
That's all.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you should.
Okay, I will do that.
I think you should know.
I don't believe you have to take a vote for that. Just that.
No,
It's
Just
no, that's
a
a common,
notice.
just a common courtesy that it was discussed and hey, if she wants to discuss it, come to the next meeting, we'll discuss it again.
I have one more item.
George, you
Oh,
didn't vote
It's
on
not
that
going to
yet.
require any discussion or vote or anything else.
We
It's
thought
just
Rosie.
Curiosity.
Jo-
You
wait a minute,
haven't,
wait a minute. George, wait, we haven't voted on the,
Oh,
on the-
I
on
thought-
the-
I thought we did. No?
no,
oh,
We
we
voted
didn't.
on the stones, but we didn't
Right.
vote
Okay,
on
let's vote on
Made the
the
that.
letter, but I didn't think we had to. It's,
We made the motion. We got a second.
I second.
Okay. Then all in favor of
stone.
sending the email to,
No,
no, no.
no,
No.
and allowing George to put stones out to,
allowing George to put the stones out? Okay, fine, yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Everyone votes aye. Good, fine, done.
Okay.
Okay, George, you had one.
Anything for the vote, for the letter.
It's a curiosity. I haven't discovered the history behind it. There's on one of the trees that's that's not within the 9.1, very close to the stone wall that's along the canoe launch, where the canoe launch, there's the B.
Yep.
and the canoe launch and the little house and so forth. On one of the trees near there, there's an observation monitor thing. It looks like it's got a 360-degree, or at least a 180-degree view of the area of the canoe launch and the area around it. And it's strapped to a tree. It looks like it has places where you could read out whatever is recorded. And I have no idea who put it there.
What, is it a camera or is it
I
a video?
assume, it's got three lenses sticking out straight forward and off a bit to the side.
Is it-
I assume it's
is it-
probably motion activated. I don't know.
Does it have does it have camo color to it?
Color, I don't know.
Olive drab.
It's no, it's not olive drab. It's
Okay,
kind of grayish black, I would say, something.
Maybe the Patton Ridge people are trying, not Ridge, the Patton Homestead people are trying to see if people are using it or not. So they put it out there at one time.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, maybe I don't know who would be doing that. Whether the Board of Selectmen knows all about it. I don't know anything. Maybe
Well, we got one of them here you could
some
ask.
people, maybe Patton Homestead Inc.
What I think.
decided that they wanted to put something there because there had been an inquiry about leasing the canoe launch. Or maybe it's the people who want to lease the canoe launch to put it there. I don't know.
Do you think
Somebody put it there.
the Patton Homestead people, we could ask them and just ask if they know what it's there for? It's not on our property if it's on the,
I can inquire at this point. This is an observation that it's there. You know,
no
it's
harm in asking.
odd. It seemed to me an odd item, but it's not on 9.1, so it's not our business unless we get an MOA, and then it's our business.
Does it video or take pictures, whatever, of part of the 9.1?
Part of what?
Does it, you said that it's pointing in 3 directions, so it does one part of it actually view the Patton Ridge Old Dirt Road? You know, part of that, or is it,
I don't think it could see. I don't know. I would guess that it's at 180-degree.
okay, so maybe it's just the river
At
and
point.
the access.
It wouldn't quite bring it onto the wood road, but it would see the two pieces, you know, the two parts of the, if you want to call it the wood road, that go down to the canoe launch. It would be observing any activity on them as well as on the canoe launch itself.
Boy, George, you got my curiosity going. I'm just gonna have to go down and look at it myself. Time.
Yep.
Well, if it's motion activated, they have a nice picture of my face at this point.
How close?
What the heck is this? So,
It could be somebody just trying to photograph animals that may be walking
Yeah.
by.
Yep,
no,
a trail cam.
I doubt it. This looks like somebody's monitoring the canoe launch to me. I can't see any other reason for having it right where it is.
Okay,
Well,
maybe you're
if they
right.
put it in and say around May 1st, maybe if trying to think people might come by to use it, starting then, weather's getting good.
Yeah. I can imagine, as I listed 3 people that might be interested in putting it there, and I'm sure there are others that I haven't thought of.
Sure. Well, something to find out about.
Yeah.
Anything else, George?
Well, if Patton Homestead Inc. put it there, they would have had to notify the BOS, wouldn't they? Before doing so?
Why? It's not changing anything.
I would-
Right, yeah, if it was the Patton Homestead Inc., Joe might know about it, but unless it's obtrusive or intrusive, I don't know if we would necessarily know about it. But I'm going to be at Town Hall tomorrow and I can ask Joe if he knows anything about it, if you'd like.
Sure. Okay,
Okay,
I'm done.
you're done.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
but I think I had something else I wanted to
Since
say.
you are done, then you have to make the next motion, George.
I did think I had something I wanted to ask. Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask,
Jesus.
Richard, you know this, how are they doing to find a replacement for Bert?
We'll know tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Good.
We are
Then I-
interviewing a very nice candidate.
Very nice candidate, right?
Does this person like to come to one of our meetings before they
No.
cross-examination?
One with the wheels or no?
Yeah.
Oh. That's okay.
No. No, we don't want him to come to one of our meetings. No, we want to hire him first, then let him come.
I agree with that.
Okay, I happen to agree with you. Yeah, I got confused. I got confused. It's getting late. I was thinking about a member for the commission. We always like to have them come first. You're right.
Yeah.
You don't want them to come before they get hired. Yeah, that's good.
No. Okay, George, you're up.
Um, Are we going home for the night?
You make the motion, we are.
Okay. What's the proper form for this motion?
You're making a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, motion made that we adjourn. Anybody second it?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody voted aye.
And the time is 8:06 p.m.
Okay, guys. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay.